Thanks for joining me here on Joy News today. Scaremongering has hit almost every facet of life, at least of Ghanaians. Nonetheless, when stories about plastic food fill the news and get onto the market, they understandably send jitters down the spines of people. From rice to eggs and now fish, controversy and debate rage over the authenticity or otherwise of such reports. Kwesi Deborah explores how traders and consumers take news of one plastic food or the other.
They are always pestering me with a rubber rice fin, she says. They refuse to buy when they aren't satisfied. Afra Kumar sells rice at the Kumasi Central Market. It was reported in December last year 2.5 tons of plastic rice has supposedly been seized in Nigeria. A few weeks later, after initial test, Nigerian Federal Ministry of Health stated there was no evidence of plastic rice in the country. Earlier this year, there were rumors of plastic rice in the Gambia and Ghana, but there was no confirmation. Public views on the matter vary. Some believe it is true.
Each and everyone wants to make money. Due to that, or to do away with poverty, we can be in our closet and manufacture anything of our own to make money.
Others beg to differ. I've never seen rubber rice before. It isn't true. Recently, video of bouncing rice has been circulating on social media, seeking to authenticate the plastic rice story. How can rice bounce like a tennis ball? Dr. Maxwell Asante is a rice breeder.
The rice grain is basically starch. It's up to about 90% starch. Okay, and this starch, we have two forms of starch, amylose and amylopectin. Okay, so for rice, the amylose content can range from 0 to about 30%, with the rest being amylopectin, meaning that amylopectin can be up to 100% or up to 70%. So if you have rice with amylose, which is around 30, that rice is very hard. It's high amylose. Okay, but in Ghana, the kind of rice we want is anything ranging from about 15 to about 22% amylose. If you have amylose content about 15 to 18, which is typical for the jasmine type of rice, that rice is soft and sometimes even sticky. But for the conventional US long grain with amylose content between 19 and 22, it's usually more fluffy. Okay, so but even if you have rice with amylose content lower than 15, it can be very sticky. So what was happening with the bouncing rice is that if you cook rice and it's sticky and you make it into a ball, okay, you squeeze it into a ball, and especially when you mix it with a little oil, so that it does not stick to the floor. Once it's sticky, if you hit it on the ground, it will bounce. So it's very natural.
That explanation will please hearts of rice lovers. Rice seller Afra Kumar may not be bothered about few clients walking away. However, at the fish section, commonly called Main Road, the hub for fish, Lydia is really bothered.
You can see it.
Video of plastic fish is all over on social media. Unlike the plastic rice, authorities are yet to debunk the sale of plastic fish in the country. A customer who used to buy cassava fish from her has stopped buying after seeing this video. Now Lydia has resorted to the sale of salmon and red fish. I don't go for the cassava fish anymore, she says. Clients still believe it's the fake one. Further investigation is required to prove the existence of rubber foods or otherwise on the market. Until then, these market women will someday be forced out of job. Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
Well, away from that, a journalist with Sky Media Group at Takrade in the Western region was on Tuesday severely beaten after he sought to find out why a policeman who was sitting on a motorbike had no crash helmet. The Akan newscaster with Sky Power FM, popularly known as Achiamehene, was on his way to Accra when the incident occurred. It took the intervention of taxi drivers and onlookers who rushed to the scene to save him. Francis Waja is our reporter in the Western region. He joins us live on the phone with details. Hello, Francis.
Yes, hi, Benny.
How is this journalist doing, and what more can you tell us about this incident?
Well, as of now, the gentleman in question, like you rightly said, popularly known as Achiamehene, in the person of Nana Ekumfi Pineapple Factory, is doing well. He was at the hospital yesterday. A day after he had reported to the police station, he was given a medical form. So now he's recovering. But the latest is that an internal administrative sanction has been meted out to the constable in question. His name is Constable Wilson Bose, and he is with the visibility unit of the secondary police. And the latest coming out, once again, we are told by the police public relations officer in the Western Region, Olivia Duku, is that some internal administrative sanctions have been meted out to this constable because the regional commander is interested in the matter.
Well, Francis, we know the Western Region branch of the GJA has issued a statement on this. What are they saying exactly?
Exactly. The Ghana Journalists Association says that this attack on the journalist was unprovoked, and so they condemn the attack totally. And according to the statement, they contend that in the worst-case scenario, what they expected the law officer to do was to have even arrested the young man and taken him to a police station. Now, the constable earlier had said that he was verbally assaulted, and then the DJ claimed that even if he was assaulted verbally, he still should have arrested the young man, taken him to the police station for the law to take its course, rather than an officer of the law who enforces the law to have taken the law into his own hands and then did what he did. So for them, they are pursuing this matter at all lengths, and then they will make sure that the appropriate thing is done. They assure journalists in the region that they are not going to leave this matter to rest. They will pursue it. So is given to this young man.
Francis, finally, is Achiamehene hoping to take this further? Does he hope to, I know that the police are investigating, but for example, is he looking at suing this particular police officer?
Come again, Benny.
I am asking if Achiamehene hopes to take this case further. Is he pressing any, charges apart from what the police is doing? Does he hope to sue this police officer?
Well, the last time I spoke to him about a few hours ago, the most important thing for him now is to fully recover. And then when he recovers, he will look forward to that. But he has not hinted of any legal actions yet, but he just wants to recover from this unfortunate incident, as he called it. He described it as the worst event ever in his life. And so he said he wants to recover for now, and then we'll see what next.
Thank you very much for the updates. Francis Waja joined us from the Western Region with updates on that particular story about Sky News reporter who was assaulted yesterday by a police officer. We'll follow up on this keenly and bring you updates in subsequent bulletins. Now, there's been increase in the cases of teenage pregnancy in the Wa West district of the Upper West region. Wa West District Director of the Ghana Health Service, Clifford Veng, said for the past 4 years, there's been consistent increase in the number of cases. From a figure of 376 in 2013, it moved up to 428 in 2014. In 2015, a total of 456 cases were recorded, whilst 2016 went up further to 493 cases. Now, a more worrying development, he said, was young girls as old as 10 years old, as young as 10 years old were getting pregnant in the district. He noted that a greater percentage of them were dropping out of school and made housewives only to nurse babies. Clifford Veng made this revelation at the mid-year health sector performance review of the Wa West district. Rafiq Salam reports.
What happens to the mothers after
the mid-year health sector performance review of the Wa West District Directorate was held on the theme improving health indicators through effective stakeholder engagement. It brought together key stakeholders in the health sector to take stock of activities of the past 6 months, highlighting their strengths and weaknesses with a view to finding solutions to them. West District Director of the Ghana Health Service, Clifford Vane, stated that the past 6 months saw increases in outpatient department attendance, exclusive breastfeeding, skill delivery and immunization services. However, the district, with a population of 93,810 people spread in 226 communities and with only 40 health facilities, is not without challenges. Some of these health facilities, according to Clifford Vane, are in deplorable shape.
The Oja Tips Compound, Quintel Tips Compound, Grungu Health Center, Durabo Health Center, just to mention a few. The waiting benches for clients are in very bad shape. Our desperate clients had to manage on these benches to receive services. It is worth stating that a conducive environment contributes in healing. Our transport situation is also very bad. Most of the motorbikes are old and weak, increasing cost of maintenance and servicing to keep them on road. About 70% of them are over 5 years, which should have been auctioned, but because of no replacement, we are still using them, and this impacts negatively on our dwindling finances.
Another issue which was of concern to the people was the increasing rate of teenage pregnancy in the district.
There is high teenage pregnancy reported across the 7 health centers of the district over the past 4 years. Girls between the ages of 10 to 19 years are getting pregnant. It is sad to know that most of these girls will turn out to be school dropouts and are made housewives, only breeding children, and their future is bleak.
Reporting for J News, Rafik Salam.
Acting chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Freddie Blay, is asking Ghanaians to ignore claims by the opposition NDC that the project being commissioned Friday at the launch of the One District, One Factory was started by the previous John Mahama administration. Now he says the sod cutting for that pineapple factory is purely a private sector initiative which government has facilitated. Former appointees of the John Mahama administration have come out to criticize the president for passing off a John Mahama project as his own, but Freddie Blay says this is not the case.
You know what the NDC is saying about it. The individual company led by a young man had come out to see the minister that this is what I have and this is what I want to do. It's only recently that he's been given a big, vast land. He was going to site it somewhere else. People persuaded him to go to Ekumfi. He's going to employ about 5,000 people, even maybe outgrowers of about extra 5,000, workers of 5,000, 10,000 jobs in the Ekumfi area. If you do this and you say you are not proud of it, it's not what we did in Commander and the NDC. What about you put up a factory of about $26 million and you grow the wrong sugar cane and the factory is there, nothing is being produced? That one is a waste, because that's not what we are talking about. We are saying we are encouraging individuals to bring their own money and invest. And when they invest and then they produce and then we benefit from it, now you are poo-pooing it. That's your own beef. Ekumfi people wanted it. I've been there. And when the president was there and the people said they are happy, this is coming out of it. We're giving them the encouragement. And we think it is what we are creating an environment for people to invest, produce, and let Ghana benefit from.
Away from politics, station manager of Africa's second radio astronomy facility sited at Kuntunse here in Accra wants government to move in and remove encroachers whose activities are increasingly interfering in the smooth operations of the facility. In an interview with Joy News, head of managers at the Ghana Space Science and Technology Institute, Dr. Bernard Dia Asabre warned, if not checked, the encroachers could hinder the country's quest to conduct research and catch up with the fast developing technological advancement the world over. He spoke to Latif Idris.
This is what we call Ghana Radio Astronomy Facility, and it is under Ghana Space Science and Technology Institute, which is under Ghana Atomic Energy Commission. So we have Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, and then Ghana Space Science and Technology Institute, and this is a facility under the institute.
Is this the only facility of its kind, I mean, in the country?
No, I wouldn't say in the country. It's the second in the whole of Africa.
Oh, okay.
Well, the first one is in South Africa, and this is the second in Africa.
Wow.
Yeah.
It must be a treasure for the country then.
Well, it is for people who believe in research and not believe in research and also science and technology development. Yes, I would say so.
And today we're seeing massive encroachment. Is it having any impact on operations here?
Sure, it definitely is having great impact on our operations here. If I should go a bit into details, this is a radio astronomy facility, and we are receiving radiations in the radio frequency. Here, I mean, the signals that we're receiving are very weak. So if we even compare with the radiations coming from phones and things like that, this can't stand. So actually, this is not a plus for the project.
Away from that, many disabled people in Ghana hold back from reaching their full potential due to social-cultural beliefs. But one visually impaired man in a small community in the Wa West district is braving the odds to show his talents in playing the xylophone, a musical instrument popular in the 3 northern regions of Ghana. Now, Joy News' Justice Beto reports on what motivates this musician of a kind.
Lumbo is not sure how old he is, but says he could be in his late 50s. He suffered measles at the time of his birth. The effect of that is what would eventually leave him permanently blind. His visual impairment notwithstanding, Takwe has developed his craft for building xylophones, a musical instrument popular with the Dagaba people of northwestern Ghana, and also dazzles playing it.
I also manufacture the xylophones for sale, but sometimes there are no buyers. I can manufacture xylophones sometimes for up to 2 years and not get a single buyer.
This man is not alone. Many people with physical disabilities in Ghana are faced with several challenges that limit their livelihood. I asked him about the status of people like him in the Wa West district where he lives.
We're always thinking about life. It's tough here and we do not have the means to survive. If we don't have the money to feed on, how can we even think about the resources to build any businesses? Even on the farm, you need people to help you clear the land and plant. You need money to pay them. But as disabled people, even if we want to help ourselves, all of these problems limit us.
The major source of livelihood in this part of Ghana is farming, and that is what Takwe survives on at the moment, hoping that someday the story of disabled people like him will be told differently. Justice Bedu, Joy News, Bridge in the Upper West region.
My name is Benis Abubedu and this is Joy News. Today, still to come in this bulletin, private legal practitioner Martin Pegbu says Director General of SNIT should be charged for causing financial loss to the state. We'll bring you more on this. Thanks for staying on Joy News today. Former top managers at the Social Security and National Insurance Trust SNIT risk being slapped with a charge of causing financial loss to the state as it has emerged that they purchased a wrong automation system. This is one of the major reasons that led to the ballooning of the project's cost from an initial $34 million to more than $70 million. Now, there's been huge public uproar following an announcement by current management to probe circumstances leading to the award of the contract that was to develop a system that will make SSNIT efficient. In the face of these revelations, we've been engaging private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu on the position of the law on causing financial loss to the state, as well as what actions SSNIT contributors could take if they feel this deal was wrong. He tells Joy News the former top managers who signed the deal may find it tough to escape a charge of causing financial loss to the state.
To the extent that so far from what you've read, there wasn't proper due diligence to ensure that we bought what was actually required, then we are talking about financial loss, because the Criminal Offences Act, like the financial loss provision, specifically mentions that when a person, by his willful act, so either you intentionally or by omission, and that is where, so even if we can't prove that the officers involved deliberately bought this wrong equipment, at least we can rely on the omission. So if you fail to do proper due diligence to ensure that you buy the right equipment, then it means we are talking about financial loss. Yes. But the other side that has to be clarified is that we have to be sure that the money involved, also that's the money they use in paying, it's actually owned by the government. Because if it's just purely private funds, they may want to set up an argument that it wasn't government funds. But then it's not easy for them to totally get off the hook to say that these are just pensioners' contributions, because the National Pensions Act also gives the Social Security, that's SSNIT, some functions which are actually regulatory in nature. So if the body is actually government in nature, it's not easy for you to make an excuse that, the money involved is not government money, but it is contributors' funds.
Now, if it is argued, lawyer, that this is contributors' funds, then what happens if the pensioners or workers whose monies are involved decide to sue?
Exactly. Oh, yes. And that one, they can't run away from it, because then they will have to answer. Because being a trust, they are supposed to use the money in such a way as they would have used their own money. You are trustees. So as a trustee, you are giving somebody's money to manage this as you would have managed your own funds. So the question is that, looking at the acquisition, the purchases that were made, is that how they would have used their own funds? That you go to buy something that you haven't checked that is fit for purpose? Obviously, it doesn't look good at all. It doesn't look good. So, whereas Evans, apart from uncovering this, to be able to move the system, you need to file a complaint, maybe with Yoko or the CID. Then perhaps we can have the criminal investigation started. Otherwise, maybe we will talk on radio, and then this will get shelved somewhere. So make a formal complaint.
Lawyer Martin Kpebu spoke to my colleague Daniel Dazi earlier on Joy News Desk. Now, procurement expert Collins Adjuman Sapon, speaking on the same program, said the problem was created because experts in the procurement field were not used.
To the extent that so far from what you've read, there wasn't proper due diligence to ensure that we bought what was actually.
We do apologize for that wrong soundbite played. We'll bring it to you later in subsequent bulletins. Away from that, farming looms in Adaklu Helepe and its surrounding communities in the Volta region after about 352 acres of farmland were submerged in mud. Let's head to Sierra Leone now. Last week, Monday's torrential rains there did not only kill more than 400 people, it's also displaced many inhabitants living on the outskirts of the country's capital, Freetown. The unending hours of rain saw some concrete structures and shacks made of corrugated roofing sheets, popularly called panburi in Sierra Leone, all washed down into the ocean. Kaningo is a community in a valley at Freetown and was battered by the heavy rains, which led to the collapse of the only bridge in the community. Some residents who were affected are now living in a camp at the Kaningo Primary School. And we know host of the Super Morning Show, Koji Yankson and Maxwell Agbagba, walked into the valleys of Kaningo in Sierra Leone to assess the extent of the devastation. Mabinti Masere, the leader of the team from the Infections and Prevention Control Unit at the Sierra Leone Ministry of Health, says a number of people have been diagnosed with cholera and there's a possible outbreak of the disease. However, mechanisms are being put in place to nip it in the bud.
So what is your mission here, infection prevention and control? What are you supposed to do here at the site?
Well, we are here because this incident has taken place. We are in the response to any Ebola outbreak, let me say, any cholera outbreak. We try to put things in place by putting washing hand stations so that people will wash their hands. I said I have some people that are collecting all the dirty that they litter around, so that people will not, because the place, the center is already congested. It's congested, and I want everything to be in place. Let there be cleanliness, environmental cleanliness. Put every washing hand station in position. Wherever people are coming, they should wash their hands. Whatever they do, they should wash their hands. I was working with the wash. We are using the mic, sensitizing the people so that they will know what to do, because the place is congested and we are expecting cholera outbreak because of the congestion of the center. There were 3 centers, but the one center has already been vacated, so we've taken them here. So we are doing our best.
Do you have everything you need, the equipment, protective clothing, and all the things that you need to help prevent disease spreading?
Yeah, we've got everything. We have everything. It's only some challenges that we have, like these gumboots. They have not supplied us yet, but they promise to supply us tomorrow. We have all that we need for now. We have been supplied since Tuesday.
And are the people following your advice? Are they doing what you ask them to do in terms of washing their hands and all the things you've talked about?
Yeah, because we are working all up and down with the microphone, sensitizing them to wash their hands.
Now, at this point, obviously, we are still expecting some more rain. What is the advice for the people in this area who were not affected by the landslide, but who are still at risk of catching diseases?
We tell them to go home, because this place is not for them. It's just for those that have been affected, not for those that are not affected, because the number of people that you see here are not affected. Many of them are not affected.
Head of Ghana's NADMO team in Sierra Leone has also been speaking to Joy News.
This place is downstream from the epicenter of the disaster. So when the water washed all of that mud down the hill, it continued to wash debris and bodies and people's property all the way through what is now a river which flowed through this community, washing even more property and more bodies down the river all the way into the sea. We've come here to see the extent of the devastation, and we have bumped into the Director General of Ghana's NADMO, Nana Ajiman Prempeh. He's been here for a week now since the disaster struck, helping out the people of Sierra Leone to cope and recover from the tragedy of last week, Monday. Let's find out from him what has happened since he got here. Nana, good morning and thank you for speaking to us.
Yeah, good morning. Greetings to my fellow Ghanaians. We've been here for almost a week now, and as you are all aware, the government of Ghana decided to support our neighboring country, our sisters and brothers and sisters, Sierra Leone, with relief items, among other things. So we were here, we came here, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, was here. We did the donation all right, but we realized we need to give them technical support. They did the appeal to us to help them with technical support because they don't have what we have in Ghana, like NADMO. You know, Sierra Leone has come out of war and Ebola, and they are now putting things together. Even their national security system, it was Ghana government that helped them put up the structures and others, so they appeal to us to help them. And we are here. We've been helping them with a lot of things, be it search and rescue, proper reconstruction, among other things, and we are here. We are helping them. We meet with them and all the international communities twice in a week, in the mornings and in the evenings. And the good thing, they are taking our advices, and it is really helping them. Example, like the way and manner they are doing all such.
Here's an account of someone who lives about 100 meters away from the epicenter at the Sugarloaf Mountain. Now, he lost 17 members of his family.
We're coming to you from Sierra Leone, from Freetown, from Sugarloaf Mountain, where 400 lives so far, at least, have been lost to a landslide whose repercussions are still reverberating across the nation. Today, we're able to speak to one of the survivors. This is Jibril Mansari. Jibril's house is literally meters from the stream of mud that killed many on that fateful Monday morning. Jibril will tell us more. Jibril, yes, that morning, then were you awake when it happened?
Well, I'm not awake. I was sleeping. I was sleeping in the morning. I hear a sound rumbling in the sky like a big warplane. But I think that it was whether a Russian warplane or American warplane, which is the biggest plane in the air. Okay, so I was sleeping. So rain was coming. Plenty rain is coming. So my brother come and wake me up. He says, Jibril, are you sleeping? Come outside, come and see. Come and see water. Come and see water. I said, hey, my friend, this is August. This is August, so you must expect that. So you see, so I opened my door. I came outside. Then when I look at the mountain, I saw everything fall down on the ground. So people are running. So I started to say, hey, my brother, come and see. Now the mountain has fallen down on the ground. So we all started, we enter in the house, we run, and leave the area and come outside.
Did you see any of the dead bodies?
Well, of course, later, after the rain cut off, the Chinese people that working with the machine come to the area and started to pull dead bodies under the rubble.
We'll bring you more on Sierra Leone in subsequent bulletins. Our team is still stationed there.